So I went for a job interview with a blacksmith to be an apprentice. And one of the first questions the guy asked me was, have you ever shoed a horse before? And I didn't get the job because I said, no, actually, but I didn't shoe a horse, but I did once tell a donkey to fuck off.
Laugh, people, laugh. He'll do another one.
I've got another one. I've got it.
Oh, no.
I'm going for
If you
it.
ignore him, he'll go away, for fuck's sake.
No, it's fine.
Don't encourage him. You're just enablers.
Have you ever heard of silent tennis? It's like normal tennis, but without the racket.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, this is what happens.
What? What? Oh, dear. Anyway, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black Dog version 2, episode 60. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Elton.
And this week we'll be seeing how everyone's week's been. And then we'll have a tiny bit of feedback for last week's episode, which was Whiplash. And then we'll move on to this week's movie, which is Birdman. But we'll get to that soon enough, I'm sure. So, we're all bright and breezy because we've actually started like within 6 minutes of when we normally supposed to turn up. So this is great. this is
something
high.
clearly wrong, isn't there?
There's high energy in the air. So yeah, we'll start with you, Jim. How's your week been, sir?
Trying.
Oh, okay.
Well, as you heard last week, I had that horrible throat infection, which just hung around, and I didn't really feel terribly ill, other than having to cough a lot of catarrh. I was going to try to like giving up smoking again.
Oh God!
Without the joy of having 20 years of smoking beforehand. But it was mainly though. It was one of those infections you have to clock on at night. I don't know when we went to these shift work germs. But you know what I mean? It's kind of like, 9 o'clock, right? Stuff his nose off. Okay, time for go to bed, right then. You wake up at 2 with a coughing fit because he's been breathing through his mouth because we've stuffed his nose shut. Your throat will be sore. He has to get up and have a drink and have some cough mixture. Then he won't get back to sleep. We've knackered his day tomorrow, lads. Well done.
Yay!
Hey. So mainly a lot of that, really. And struggling to get everything else done in between coughing fits.
Oh.
But it seems to be on the mend now. Typically, it was when I got the point, I'm going to ring the doctors. You kind of, okay, I surrender.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. That's always a good threat. I should have gone to that day one.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Always the way. It's like getting a toothache and then going to the dentist and then suddenly it miraculously vanishes just as you're stepping into the waiting room.
It's a handy trick to know, but one I always forget.
There you go. Cool. So your throat's feeling better this week.
Yeah. Still a bit, still a bit occasionally coffee, but considering it's just pissed down for 3 days, I'm not surprised. So.
Okay, fair enough.
That's all right.
Yeah. Cool.
But other than that, I've been loafing around. Continuing our Futurama rewatch. We're on to the big feature-length specials, which is nice.
Oh, blimey. You're blasting through them.
Oh, yeah. We're a bit. Because Teresa's only seen odds and sods, and she's really digging it. And it's dated very well, actually.
Yeah.
It's, really such a good, fun show.
Yeah.
And other than that, we've recently enjoyed watching a trilogy of Gamera movies.
Oh, my word. Okay.
If you don't know, Gamera was a rival to Godzilla by another studio.
Yeah.
And he's a giant turtle with tusks who can fly and breathe fire.
This sounds amazing.
It is. I mean, for a start, he sort of just puts his arms in the air and sort of jets off like Superman. But when he gets to full speed, he goes into his shell and starts spinning around like a big shuriken with fireworks coming out the leg holes and arm holes. It's absolutely hilarious.
Of course he does.
Yes. But so in the 90s, the kind of let me see, Heisei era. But they sort of rebooted the entire franchise. It started like Godzilla in the 60s, and there's been 12 films back then.
Right.
First one was in black and white. That's how far back it goes.
Yeah.
And then there's then this 90s sort of reboot where they completed it fresh, and they give them sort of a different origin, and they tied it to like proper ancient Japanese sort of cosmology and stuff. Mm-hmm. And the 3 films are actually a really good trilogy with actually good like human story, and the same characters come back, and it sort of builds, each part builds on one another. And it's just a bit more than usual kind of radioactive giant monsters knocking 7 bells out of each other. With kind of like ecological stuff and and also a lot of radioactive monsters knocking 7 bells out of each other. But what was good is kind of they tried to get away from the man in the suit things. It's kind of in the second one he fights a thing called the Legion, which is kind of like a hive organism.
Oh, nice.
So it's all lots of little things that sort of grew up at the end to be a giant mecha thing. It's a really fun series. The 3 Sun 90s Gamera films. I highly recommend them.
Are they available online or through
They are if they've all been released by Arrow over here, and I believe you can get them through the Arrow video Amazon channel as well.
Yeah.
I would say I'm absolutely mental, but it's really well done and some really good creature designs. And if you remember, like in Pacific Rim, do you remember kind of the big creature that menaces the female lead as a small child?
Yes,
that's a very kind of like Gamera-esque style kaiju with a big sort of anvil head and sharp edges and spikes. That's very kind of drawing off the Gamera side of things. And
nice.
Yeah, I would recommend them. I had not seen them before, but I heard good things about them, so I finally cracked and bought the set. Sorry, done it.
Nice.
Who cares? Nearly my birthday, honest.
That's it.
And so I'm really glad it was just real good fun with it.
Awesome.
I was really impressed with them. So a high recommend if you like that kind of thing.
Cool. I mean, I'm sure it's one of those things that I'll look at and I'll be like, oh, I remember these sort of things. The old Godzillas. I still think they have a bit of charm when I watch them. I couldn't name one of them from another, but whenever I just see like 2 blokes dressed in plastic suits knocking the fuck out of each other in a cardboard city, it's just like, yeah, that's fine.
Well, you've got to say a car park there for a minute.
No, that's just outside in Bromley. That's just when I go shopping.
Two drunks.
Some of the late 70s one at the end of the first cycle, it was getting down to fighting in a car park. But I recently actually read a book called Godzilla on My Mind by someone whose name I've forgotten. But that's a very good book on Godzilla by a guy who's American Japanese or Japanese American. I can't remember which way around. But he can gives you like a potted history of Godzilla, but from both perspectives because he's familiar with both.
Oh right.
Because all the American versions got re-edited and redubbed. In some cases, had new footage put in. But he traces the history and tries to what Godzilla means in Japan at certain times, what he's meant in America, and a lot of kind of quite in-depth stuff, but also quite light and funny as well, and quite witty, and done with a lot of sort of little nostalgic and sort of personal memoirs thrown in as well of his own memories. But it's a really good book. I learnt a lot about the history of the franchise and why certain films are like they are, and
right.
But it also puts them in the context that you don't know of what was going on in Japanese cinema at the time.
Yes,
and the state of the Japanese film industry as well, which is all really interesting stuff. So I do recommend that if you want actually to just get a grip on what it's all about.
Yeah, because I mean, I think that's the problem, isn't it? Whenever I've watched these Godzilla movies, the American ones, I've kind of grumble, and everyone goes, "Oh yeah, but it's all the same. That's all the way it's supposed to be." And I'm like, "Rrr." But it's like the way you say it like that. It's like anime, isn't it? If you don't understand certain cultural markers and certain cultural references, a lot of it's gonna pass you by. I've just noticed on Amazon that Godzilla on My Mind, 50 Years of King of Monsters, is by William Susi or Susu.
That's the phone. Yep.
Yep. And it's available. It's available on all Amazons. So there you go, and on Goodreads for download and shit. So there you go. Cool. I might actually check that out. Cool. Excellent. Anything else, sir?
That'll do me, I think.
Okie dokie, that'll do you. Well, then, in which case, we shall move on to Mr. Elton. How's it been, sir? How's your finger? I mean, have you had it lopped off yet?
Oh, you saw. I did end up with a splinter just to set everyone's mind at rest.
Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers.
I'm all right now. Don't worry. It's fine.
Okay.
It's all good.
Thank goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There were calls to the ambulance made.
Mm-hmm.
But and it did go into the accident book as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
but
right.
Accident
we're all
book?
good. Yeah.
Oh, serious.
You must have been close to death.
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. And this was all from a ladder as well. It wasn't from machinery, it was from a ladder.
A metal ladder?
No, a wooden ladder. I got a metal splinter from a wooden ladder.
Well, you never know.
No, it was from an aluminium ladder.
Okay.
Apart from that drastic action in my life this week, the only thing that I've done, and I was very proud of it actually, very pleased, where we had this, yes, it's TV story time again. There we go.
Ghostly tellies.
No, not them bastards. No.
Still upstairs, all crackling away.
They're
One
still
day.
in the loft. Every now and again you hear them go.
That's it. You see a glow coming through the loft door
Yeah,
on the
the
roof.
hatch drops down slowly. You're like, fucking hell, get out of here.
Yeah.
No, this is the new TV, and where we bought it, and it was just that the feet on the actual TV were just narrow enough to fit on the stand that we have. I decided to make my own stand for it.
I'm very relieved on that because the photos of your telly, I'm sure it'll be next year's OED under precarious.
It was.
see this picture.
I'm worried about it every picture I've seen. There's one lorry go past that's going on the floor and we smacked a bit.
Yep.
How dare you? So I don't have lorries going past my house? That's very common. Very common indeed.
They go
Just
past
wait till one gets lost thanks to sat-nav, it'll happen, trust me.
Yeah. The road's on the other side of the island.
It is, yes. And I have a mile. What is it?
Drive.
Yeah, like the big stone crinkly drives where it sounds so beautiful just driving up. It's like,
The gravel drive.
that's it. Yeah. But anyway, yes, going off of that, because I was looking at it and I was getting a bit, okay, when do I polish it? I don't want to polish this because if I go there, I might be moving something and it all just comes tumbling down. It scared the crap out of me. So I decided to turn my hands to work. Got some wood from the shed that we've been storing up and created myself a little stand. I was going to put it on the wall, but I don't think the wall would have been strong enough to hold everything up. I have the feeling that I would have put it into the wall and then it would have ripped out moments later with the TV crashing down and everyone crying and me storming around smashing the shit out of places. So I decided I wouldn't go down that route and I made my own. And by jingo, it works.
Yeah.
Very happy with it.
I'm most put out that you didn't call me for assistance. I mean, I could have done all that.
Really? Could you?
Yeah. Yeah. You know me. I could have run it.
Handyman skills that you have.
Exactly. I don't know what your problem is, mate. I could have come up there, I'd have put it together, a couple of hammers, couple of nails, big old box, MDF and the jigsaw. I'll sort that out.
Yeah. Well, next time I need my washing machine stripping down to the bare minimum, all of its component parts, then I will give you a shout.
Yeah. What, for putting your telly on it?
Well, I might as well just let you play with something.
Well, you don't want to do that because you know what the judge told me last time. You can't do that at a bus stop. It's just not on.
Or a park.
Yeah. Or in a bush.
Or in the freezer section at Tesco's. But I really love the texture of these peas.
Chicken nuggets. So anyway, your TV
Yeah.
stand, it's all good, is it?
Yeah, there's not a lot to tell you about it, but I was just very proud of it. And it's one of them moments where I have lots of moments where I think this would take less than a day to make. It'll be fine. And 3 days later, I'm swearing and shouting and going, this should have taken less than a day. And I still am not halfway through it.
Right.
And I didn't plan it out too much. I was just riffing with what I had, etc.
Jazz stand.
Yeah, it was. I
It's
got
the
this.
jazz stand. Skip it up.
I got that. I could do this. It'll be fine. Don't worry. And it's one of the moments where normally it is the famous last words. And as I put everything back together as it was and realised I'm shit at absolutely everything I turn my hands to. But this time it works and it hasn't fallen over and it swings out wherever you want it. Oh, it's a thing of beauty. So I'm really proud of that.
Is it supposed to swing out?
It is supposed to swing out.
Okay, just for
You son of a bitch.
Doesn't just dangle and swing that way. It swings out.
Yeah.
Is it quite horizontal?
It dangles. It's perfectly straight. Had the
Can you get it horizontal? Do you have
Does
to
it break
kind
out
of-
like Swing Out Sister?
I swear, if anyone turns my fucking TV horizontal, I will fucking kill. I am not having that.
I mean, is this sort of like it does everything you want it to do in the sort of same way as it's a feature, not a bug?
No,
It's,
this
it's
thing
not.
works perfectly.
Oh right, okay.
It's not damage. It's weathering. Yeah,
It's meant to look like that.
it is. It is.
Look at this lovely patina that it's acquired.
Patina. Anyone who's learnt the word patina is desperately looking on the internet to try and cover up a fucking great big scratch in their parents' table, aren't they?
No.
I
It's
shouldn't.
character. It's patina.
I shouldn't have. Really should not have put all that vinegar as a wipe down on that varnish. Oh shit. Anyway, cool. So it's all upright. It's all standing still, and it ain't falling over.
No, but there was a precarious moment where we lifted it off the legs. I got Jacob to help me, and I had the bracket at the back of the TV attached to the TV. And I had the bracket mount swinging out ready, and I was like, right, okay, this tab needs to go in this little slot here. And so we lifted it up slowly, tipped it, dropped it, and then you have that moment of, right, now let it go. And he's like, are you sure? I went, yeah. Let go. He's like, I don't want to. I'm like, I don't want to either, but we have to let go at some
I
point.
don't want to let go.
In your ears, all you can hear is. Nice.
But we put it down and we stepped away, and I swear we were both holding our breath, just going, don't go anywhere near it. It's not going anywhere.
Just keep it still. Keep it still. Hold on. Hang about. Stop. Get ready.
Yeah. But it's good, man. It works really well. So I'm really proud of that. And that is about as creative as I got this week.
I'm waiting to hear a big crash in the background any minute now.
Yeah.
As you say that, it's all right there.
Just the sound of MDF collapsing.
Yeah.
Nice. Or am I insulting
Don't worry,
you?
Dad. We'll get one of those spare tillies out the loft.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's right. It's all a plan.
That's how it happens.
It's all coming together. Yeah. Well, they wanted to watch the Three Lions and football coming home, but what in fact they did was unleash Pazuzu upon the world.
exactly, yeah.
Where are the spare tellies? They're here.
Did you bring it down? Did you bring it down from the loft when that one crashed? No, I didn't. What's it
Why is
doing
it
on
on
the
the
stand?
corner?
I thought you put that. I thought you dropped it in the bin. I did.
Yeah,
What's it doing in the living room?
exactly.
I don't know.
Why is it only tuning to this particular channel that I've never heard of?
It's not even plugged in. There's a cable behind
It's
it
not-
like a tail.
It's not even a
Cove.
telly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's doing. Yeah, it's.
That's not a cable. That's an umbilical cord. What the fuck?
Oh shit! It's
Yeah.
all gone wonky.
So that is it. That's all the drama I had for this week.
Oh right, okay. Sorry, mate. Once again, we've all run roughshod over your story.
No, you're cool. You're cool.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, well then, moving on to you, then, Dal. How's your week been?
Oh, it's been pretty good. Pretty good. It's been a little bit of a celebration this week. Yeah, Maria turned 13 this week. And so it's been a weekend of doing stuff and stuffing our faces with cake and Lord knows what else. Went up to London, the big smoke where you city people live.
Yeah,
now because I'm no longer a city person.
Didn't they stop you at the checkpoint?
No, the border. I got through the border. I paid a man lots of money to hide us in a bale of hay. Got us through the checkpoint. Ah, take that, Johnny Nazi. Ah.
Nice.
And it was on to Castle Conitz. No. Otherwise known as the Houses of Parliament.
Yeah.
Went up to London and, to combine both avoiding the underground and, just to do something a little bit special, we took the boat from Waterloo all the way down to the O2 when it had meal there with my mum and dad as well. So 5 of us in there having a
nice,
bloody good time.
Nice.
And we finish off the day with another boat ride back up to Central. And then we got on the Ghost Bus.
Oh
Yes. They've changed it now.
Okay.
The actual the things that they do on there. So this was good. It was just like being on the bus as if I'd never been on it before. So that was good.
The Ghost Bus tours.
The Ghost Bus tours. Yeah. So I highly recommend it to anybody who's thinking of doing it. It's you'll probably see it if you go through central London. You're bound to sort of like see the big black bus with Ghost Tours written on the side of it, and it's was it the London Necro Bus? Because apparently there used to be loads of these buses that used to take people to their bodies from the morgues to the burial grounds. And due to a fire, all of them were destroyed except one, the one you're sitting on. Yes, and the flames never touched the bus at all. So, it's a good laugh. It's very funny. The conductor was very, very good. The guy that's taken the tour and telling us things. We got to see where Charles I was beheaded. As well. Yeah, there's a statue, or should I say, a bust of his head, actually commemorating the actual spot.
Yep.
Down near, across the road from, what's the name? Number 10 Downing Street.
Oh, right.
Yes. So
cool.
We know about that now, and all other various ghosties and ghoulies and long-legged beasties.
Did he pull the stunt that he did when we were on it that time? With the act, the vanishing act.
The vanishing act, that was brilliant. For anybody who doesn't know, what happened was the bus pulled up and the conductor got off and ran across the road. And he's got like the wireless headset on. And he's standing there explaining about how there were mysterious disappearances. And as he said that, this bus drove in front of him. And when it vanished, when the bus had gone, he'd vanished. And we were all like,
vanished.
Yeah, we like, it was gone. It was there for a second.
Yeah.
And he just vanished into thin air. We were like, where the fuck has he gone?
It was good.
It was good. And then he just suddenly jumps up from behind a roadworks. So, like I say, it's a good laugh. Very, very good. We're thinking of doing the other one as well that they do. They do, was it Dr. Quantum's Time Travel Bus?
Oh,
and
right.
It's the past, present and future of London that they do on this one. And again,
I'd like to do one of them, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ghost Bus, give that a go, man. Yeah.
I'd take you have to book. You can't just rock up and do it at the moment.
Yeah, you can go on the website and get it. It's like about £15 for an adult ticket and about was it £12 for a child? But if you go on Groupon or Welchie, you can get them cheap on there.
There you go.
So there we are. So
cool.
That was good. That was a good little weekend out. Before that, though, I went and did my first gig. That I haven't been to a fucking musical gig in like over a year, like a lot of people.
Yeah. You mean attending a gig, not actually running a gig?
Yeah, exactly. I was attending a gig. I was attending a formal gig.
I was going to say we'd have heard about this by now, really, wouldn't we?
Yeah,
exactly.
It would have been all over the Facebook. I'll tell you that.
It would have
like
been
last September. I'm doing a gig. I don't know when it is, but I'm doing a gig.
I'm doing a gig. Indeed. So yeah, it was a place called Paynes Hill Park, which is not very far from where I live, which is an absolutely gorgeous public area. It's got lots of hills that you can walk up and like look over Surrey with it. It's great. And they were holding the concert there. It was from a tribute band called Zinc Floyd.
Yes, Zinc Floyd.
Zinc Floyd.
And how was Zinc Floyd?
Well, you know what it's like. You go and see a tribute band. You've never heard of them. I mean, we went to see. I mean, me and you, we've been to see the actual Pink Floyd.
Yeah, we've seen the actual Pink Floyd, and we saw the Australian Pink Floyd. Yeah,
who were very, very good as well. Good laugh there.
Are they called Pink Floyd?
Yeah, Pink Floyd. No,
Yeah.
they go.
Yeah,
Pink. Day. G'day, Floyd, or something.
Yeah.
G'day,
Floyd.
G'day, Floyd. And now we come to Zinc Floyd, and they were really good. And then I found out they sort of like they revealed at the end that this was the first time they performed together in the last 5 years.
Oh, blimey!
They come back out, and it was like, fucking hell, you're this good after not being together all this time.
That's not bad.
You know,
yeah,
they were excellent. Guitarist, fantastic. Guy who was doing the singing, he definitely sort of like did the Dave Gilmour vocals very, very well.
Oh, right.
So yeah, but apart from them being very, very good, I have to say, the audience themselves, well, let's like you got those, like you got those body puzzles where you've got like you can swap the head and the middle of the body and the legs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now imagine somebody has got a bunch of like they've got somebody in jeans and a tie-dye t-shirt, and then they put an accountant's head on it, right?
Yeah.
I'm not fucking joking. That's what it was like. There was one bloke actually wearing a tie-dye t-shirt and like, sort of like these caftan sort of trousery type things.
Right.
And it's like, am I seeing a special effect gone wrong? Is this a matting issue we're seeing here? Has the green screen failed from the neck upwards? Because in fact, I looked at a lot of people there and they wouldn't have looked at a place coming for a high-level VIP meeting at the place where I work.
Oh, right.
They all looked like that. They all looked like they were like in some sort of highly paid job and they were trying a bit too hard, some of them.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Especially the bloke with the long grey hair who's still trying to be cool and it's just like, this is not. No.
The world's passed him by.
The world has passed on, yes. And it's like, I remember when we went to these things and people were like, proper audience, sitting in chairs, paying attention to the music. Right? This shows you how far it's come on. There were people with fucking full-length picnic tables and a full buffet they brought along as well, like vol-au-vents and shit like this. Yeah. And they're all sitting there like, the fucking band's playing their heart out and they're all fucking sitting there chatting to one another, right?
Yeah.
And then, right, let me ask you this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you go and see Metallica,
right,
would you leave during?
Yes, I would.
Yeah, you fucking would, right? You wouldn't leave during Enter the Sandman, right? Okay?
Right.
You go and see Prince in concert, if you ever did, you wouldn't leave during Purple Rain, right?
No.
Okay, this is it. This is like, these are the signature
Be one of the
tunes.
nights that he doesn't fucking play it.
So, why would you leave during Comfortably Numb? Why?
What?
Why would you leave during Comfortably Numb? They're just fucking, these cunts picking their stuff up and just fucking off. And it's like, what the fuck am I seeing here?
Is it possible just
They were Scissor Sister fans.
yeah,
Probably
they
were, yeah. I'm not taking this cover version shit. Yeah.
Yeah, Scissor Sister fans, or possibly possibly those who don't believe that after Sid Barrett left, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
That's where it ended. That's where Pink Floyd ended. Sid Barrett left. That's it. Game over.
They should have gone earlier then, because it was mostly most of the stuff they did was like it was post Dark Side of the Moon. So it's. I mean, they did Wish You Were Here, and they were really good at that as well. Just fantastic watching them. But yeah, the audience, they were to the point of distraction to me at one point. It was just.
You do know that you were part of that audience, right?
I was.
You do know that someone was probably sitting there going, "What's that silly old fuck doing there?"
But I'm sitting there looking, and I'm like, I'm experiencing the band, and they're sitting there talking about their fucking mortgages, and it's like, fuck is this? Fuck's sake. And then I'm sitting there enjoying it, and then this fucking family with their kids sat behind us. And it's like, Comfy Me Numb starts playing, and this kid goes, "Is this the last song?" And I went, "Fuck off." I had to put my hand over my mouth, because I thought, oh God, did they hear me?
Yeah.
I really did. It was like, "Fuck off." I almost followed it up with, "Fuck off, you little shit." And it's like, no.
Pink Floyd induced Tourette's.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's like, why your kids are obviously not into this kind of stuff. Why are you bringing them along?
What was it? Was it late? What time was this sort of thing?
No, this was like, it started at 7:30 in the evening, I think it was. Something like 7 o'clock.
Right.
It's at 6:30. And it's just, it's like people bringing, like 2-year-old kids into a cinema to watch something like the Avengers Endgame. Yeah, or Saw, or something like this. I've had that before. I've been sat in like Cineworld and somebody's brought their newborn in.
Yeah.
And it's like, how did you get that through the fucking door in the first place?
Carried.
Yeah, but, it's
clearly underage.
Clearly underage. I think that's a clear indicator.
Yeah.
But no, apart from that, as I say, the band itself were really, really good. Really enjoyed them. So props to them. Oh, and they did Great Gig in the Sky.
Blimey.
And I will applaud anybody who even gets up to it. Yeah, exactly. Anybody, any person who gets up to do the vocals for that, I don't, even if they don't quite make the mark, still gets a fucking round of applause for me for even attempting it and not bursting a blood vessel or something.
Yeah.
So
nice.
They deserved the round of applause they got. Really did. So that was that.
Cool.
I watched Mitchell versus the Machines, or we did. We watched Mitchell versus the Machines.
Yep.
Oh my God, yes.
Told you.
Loved it.
Yep.
Great film. Very, very funny.
Dog, pig, loaf of bread.
Exactly. Loaf of bread. That joke I never got tired.
Yep.
I never got tired of that joke at all. No matter how many times I used it, I burst out laughing every single time. So, basically, for anybody who doesn't know, it's a story of a bit of a misfit family. They're definitely a flawed bunch of individuals, this lot. And they get caught up in a robot uprising. To which they have to try and survive and actually try and save the world. Just absolutely brilliant. I love, one of the bits I really did love in it was when the mum fucking kicks in.
Yeah.
It's like, she's had 3 sugars in her tea.
That's it.
And she goes fucking to town.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That.
Yeah. Leave it to the manga artists to get mum involved. It's just like, what the
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that was it. It's all good fun. It's good entertainment for the kids as well.
Yeah. It was terrific, I thought.
Yeah. Me and Maria just really enjoyed that film. So there's that. And one other thing.
Yeah.
New game I played this week, which I've been obsessing about. which is a game called Breath Edge.
Breath Edge. Oh, is that the one with the chicken?
Yes, it's a game about an astronaut and his immortal chicken. Right?
Yeah.
So now this is done for laughs. The whole game.
No shit.
Yeah, exactly. What you do is you play basically your ship that you're on, your shuttle crashes for some unknown reason, right?
Yep.
There's also this liner, this massive fucking intergalactic space liner that has a crash as well and just leaves the entire sector in a mess.
Yeah.
Right? And what you have to do is try to get back to civilization.
Right.
So you have to rebuild your craft. You have to find out what the hell is going on. Why is this has happened? Who's taking you out of the game? And as you go along, you slowly learn more about the situation and who's done what.
Yeah.
It is a game that's both that's funny. It's quite relaxing as well. When you've got like fuel in your ship or your backpack or whatever, and you've got enough oxygen, and you go out into space, it plays all this really nice, relaxing, gentle music.
Right.
That slowly gets more frantic as you start running out of air. Right, so you can listen to the musical cue, or like you're starting to die of thirst or die of hunger.
Right.
And the game is vast.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it's like you are traveling through the cosmos, like in just you in a spacesuit sometimes, just thrusting your way across the actual sector you're in.
Euphemism.
And there's just exactly. So like large open spaces of nothing, and you're looking at you're looking at your oxygen gauge, and you're looking at where you need to be, and it's like, am I going to make this?
Yeah.
And you get there with like 2 units of oxygen to spare as you literally do the Linford Christie put your head forward thing, and just getting through the door of wherever it is you're trying to get to.
Take shallower breaths, you bastard.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. But the chicken, where the chicken comes into play, because it's immortal and can't be killed.
Right.
You use it to short out all of the massive electrical discharges that you come across from all the broken wiring. So it says neutralize electricity. You press A, and you see him pull out this fucking chicken, and it's duct taped to a stick. And he just shoves it. You shove it in the fucking electrical discharge, and it gets rid of it, so you can go to various places.
Right. Okay.
You also use it to get access to vending machines, and it shits out resources for you. So the head goes in the slot, and then it fucking fires all the stuff out of its arse.
Right. Okay.
So I'm now coming to the end of it, but I've just played nothing but this game.
Okay.
So I do recommend it. It's about, I don't know, 15 or 16 quid at the moment. But yeah, it's just been great. I've enjoyed every minute of playing it so far.
And what was that called again?
It's called Breath Edge. So it's breath and then edge.
Okay.
But it's all one word.
So Breath Edge.
Yeah, Breath Edge.
Not breath.
Edge.
Yeah, it's Breath Edge. All one word. But that's how you spell it. Breath and then edge. Put those two together and that's it. You got the title of the game.
Yeah. Not Breath Edge, but Breath Edge.
Breath Edge, yes. And it's available on all formats, yo.
Yo. Okay. Cool. And it's called Breath
Edge.
Breath Edge. Breath Edge.
No space.
No, he said edge. Yeah, no space. Yeah.
No space, but it's set in space.
No.
Yeah.
No
Yeah, it's hyphenated.
Breath Edge. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Needlessly confusing.
Yes, well, that's the whole point. All right, then. That's that, then. So I'll do my week, yeah? Is that right? You all done?
Yes, I'm all done.
You're all done. Okay, fine. Well, I'll skip over my week pretty quickly. I mean, there's only two things that really happened this week. One was I went out for a dinner on Saturday, which was in hindsight slightly foolish, given that it was in a restaurant that's attached to a pub. So given like certain football shenanigans, it could have gone horribly wrong. But it didn't. there weren't. It's fine. No, nothing to moan about there. Though getting there with the taxi was interesting because for the first time ever, I got the Uber app, and then decided to get a car so we could actually both drink, me and Carol. And then found that the only cars available for pre-booking were the super duper expensive ones. So it cost us like 30 quid to go about a mile and a half. But, got to sat in a fancy ass Jag, which was nice. Got a Jag. But I tell you what, in a Jag, the worst thing though was it was one of those moments where you sort of think, oh, well, that's nice. Okay, treat ourselves. First time out together, big meal, lovely. Thanks very much. Let's go a bit styly. We'll take this. And then and it says Salvatore will be your driver. You're like, oh, cool, okay. But then it turns out Salvatore's got something better to do. And then suddenly we get another email saying God's power will be turning up to pick you up. It's like God's power. Yeah, God's power. Yeah, on Uber. Yeah. In fairness, he didn't do what I was expecting, which was basically a full blown sermon all the way to the pub about the perils of drinking and immoral attitudes. But apparently, God's power. He's doing the taxi run around the Bromley and Chislehurst area.
Well, we all have to whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, exactly. Man. Whatever gets you through the day. So God's power. There you go. He's out there. He's out there somewhere.
Salvatore.
He may be omnipotent, but he still has bills to pay.
He does, yes.
He's still got rent.
Yeah. I think he looked out there because, if that's God's power, Salvatore's probably a mafia hitman moonlighting.
Yeah, well, that would have been at least interesting. But
hello, I'll be your assassin for the evening. I'll bump you off about 10:30. Is that all right with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hello there. I am Salvatore, and I'm going to kill you.
You see that name just reminds me of that film with, what is it, the guys from South Park in it. Was it Orgasmo?
Oh,
where he goes, I am Sancho. What do you do, Sancho? I am Sancho. What do you do? I am Sancho. I am Salvatore. What do you do, Salvatore? I am Salvatore.
You kill my father. Prepare to die. So that was that. But the meal was really nice, if a touch expensive, but it was nice to be getting out and actually doing grown-up things, and drinking actual drink. But what's really funny is clearly, because leading up to lockdown, I hadn't drunk at all because I was doing that whole weight loss thing, walking everywhere, drinking lots of, lime and sodas when I was in the pub and all that sort of thing. So jump forward another 18 months and then stick me in a pub where I'm having like a bottle of wine. Oh, God, I was a fucking mess. Absolute mess. It's like I had 2 glasses of wine and a beer. I was like, fucking kill you all. I got my keys in my hand, make them count.
Well, it goes along with that feeling of freedom that we're starting to get as well, which I really don't like the sound of because...
No. Because it sounds like people.
Yeah, but you're allowed to go out. It's getting a little bit more normal, and you're going out for a beer. It's
common sense approach.
More normal,
common sense approach.
Common sense approach. Yeah. So,
have you met the fucking public? Seriously.
I was going to say I always go back to that thing. In the newspapers, there's Ian Duncan Smith going, I believe in the UK will take the common sense approach. And then right underneath is the caption, man sticks 6 cream eggs up bum.
Yeah.
News story. Yeah, common sense approach ain't going to work. See you in lockdown in August. Let's just put it that way. But anyway, away from that, the one other thing I did was I went on Amazon and I thought, fuck it, I'm going to watch a brand spanky new movie, and I watched Tomorrow War. Chris Pratt and Yvonne Strahovski, or whatever her name is, in Tomorrow War.
What made you do that?
Because Amazon have been pushing it harder than Girl Scouts selling cookies at your door. I mean, it's just like, wow, okay, fine, let's have a look at it. It looked like it'd be a bit of fun, and
it wasn't.
It wasn't. Cut a long story very short. I mean, for those of you who don't know, the plot is basically that during the middle of a soccer match,
right, you've lost me already.
Yeah,
so
screw them losers.
Yeah, in the middle of a soccer match, in the World Cup,
fucking arse.
The World Cup soccer match,
World Cup featuring America.
Yeah, exactly. But in the middle of that, what happens is you get a bunch of people suddenly appear in the middle of the pitch, like hundreds of people just appear in the middle of the pitch, and then tell the world that there is a war going on in the year 2050, and basically they're losing, and that they need conscriptions from the past to go into the future and be more cannon fodder for this war.
You see, I already have problems.
Yeah, so did I.
Ready have problems with this entire concept.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? I had the same problems. I can almost hear them rolling around in your head, because let's just see if we can do it at the same time. But, okay, what's the biggest problem?
The biggest problem. Okay, but biggest problem. So you're getting people from the past
to fight in the future.
To fight in the future. But like, you know, if they happen to kind of stuff it, and they but no, we're only sending the people that are already dead. All right, so Chris Pratt's dead by the end of this then.
Yeah. That's right. That's pretty much the sweet spot where I was at least 5-10 minutes in. Have you seen this then, Dal?
No, I've just thought, you see, I wanted to see it. It's like, oh, I've seen the advert for it. And then it's kind of like that bit where your brain, somebody like, you know, an intern inside your head takes off some paper with this stuff written down and goes and thinks about it in a cloakroom inside your brain, and then brings out and says, I've been thinking about this.
Yeah,
I've been thinking, and there's some stuff you might want to know about this, Darren.
Well, I mean,
really?
the real title for this film should be called "Writing Time Travel." It's not for everyone. I mean,
no.
I mean, seriously, it's not. It's absolute bollocks. And so off they go. The future survival rate is literally that. It's like 10% of people going into the future will ever come back because of this bunch of alien creatures are so fucking vicious.
It doesn't actually start off well for them, and it's nothing to do with the aliens either, is it?
No.
There's a miscalculation.
Oh, yeah. You have seen this, haven't you?
I've been watching I've got a pitch for you. You know.
Scream,
so have you got a movie for me? I've got a movie for you. I certainly do. Is that going to be difficult? No.
Super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Yeah, pitch meetings. I love pitch meetings. I've become addicted to them.
Watching those for fucking ages now. They're just great.
Have you got a time travel story for me? I certainly do.
And I'd appreciate if you got right off my back about it as well.
Yeah. Why does that happen? Well, if it doesn't, the movie doesn't happen. All right then. Anyway, yeah. So basically, yeah, they go into the future, and you know what? Spoilers. If you don't want to know, just jump to the end of this section because frankly, it's mind-boggling. They go into the future, and after some disastrous thing, they go, oh yeah, right, okay, we brought you people to the future, these time traveling warriors, because we want you to go into Miami and recover some lab stuff that can help us defeat the aliens. So you're like, right, but in a completely empty Miami, except for the people they've just beamed in there, they've decided that Miami is completely lost to the aliens. So what they're going to do is bomb Miami.
Wow.
So they go in, get this material, and then using science, they're going to take the material and make... and then make a cure for these aliens. And you're like, Oh, right.
You're going to cure the aliens.
Yeah, they're going to get rid of them. They're going to create a pathogen that kills them all off.
Right. Oh.
Right? But...
Is it on a Mac computer that just so happens to upload?
No.
They've got a ZX Spectrum.
No, they're on an oil rig in the middle of the Dominican Sea or something, some ocean. And the thing is, the only way they can do it is by finding the queen of these creatures.
Oh, give over.
No, hang on.
Army of the dead.
No, come on.
Dead.
Let's just, it gets worse. So they get the queen. They actually capture the queen, right? And then they make this pathogen, and they want to try it on the queen, but they've only got one shot. And it's like, right, so do it then. But then it turns out, surprise, surprise, they're going to give the pathogen back to Chris Pratt and send him back to the past so he can go and find the queen in the past and kill it.
Which would then remove the need for him to go back into the past,
which means
it would never happen,
and he would never have the pathogen. And
maybe we're applying too much logic. We got to go Looper style on this one.
No, hang on.
Don't apply any logic like that at all.
No, hang on. No, because we've already established that only people who go into the future are people who have no future. So they send only people who have got like death certificates of less than 6 months. So he goes into the future. His daughter, who's the lead scientist,
because science. They like science.
Because science. She tells him that he dies in a car crash. So he goes back in time with the fucking thing, and instead of dying in a car crash, he goes and finds the alien queen using the most ridiculous method. You would not believe it. He's a teacher at the beginning of the film, and he's got a kid who keeps talking about volcanoes. Just keeps talking about volcanoes. This kid, that's all this kid talks about, and everyone rolls their eyes every time he mentions volcanoes. Guess what? They find out that we're through the dust on a claw.
Oh God!
From one of these monsters, that the actual aliens are buried under a volcano. On the Russian coast, from 900 BC. So then what they do is they realise the reason the aliens suddenly appeared was because of global warming and the ice caps melting, and that's how they allowed the monsters to get out.
You know what? I thought when you said he found it in the most ridiculous way, I thought you were going to say he used the old shave and a haircut.
No.
You know, dun, 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 dun. The go around knocking on things.
Pretty much. So basically, from dust on a claw from 900 BC, they work out where exactly this alien race is, or this alien ship is. They go in there and they lay C4 throughout the entire ship. Now, instead of setting the C4 off, what they decide to do is go round with the pathogen and individually stab the monsters. Unsurprisingly, the monsters start to wake up. And then,
really?
Yeah, and then Chris Pratt has to have a hand-to-hand fight with the Queen monster, right? And not only that, he's having a hand-to-hand fight with the Queen monster. The rest of his team sacrifice themselves by blowing up the C4 and killing all the other monsters. But yeah, so the end of the film is basically solving the problem. The alien queen, dead. All the monsters, dead. They all got killed in the most ridiculous way. So the future has changed. And because the future has changed, Chris Pratt doesn't go in a car and he doesn't die and he has a lovely life with his daughter. Who then
I thought you were going to say he ends up with a broken leg and slobs out on a couch and Rashida Jones looks after him.
Pretty much. But that's the thing. And I know that means that his daughter doesn't grow up to be this scientist in the middle of a hot zone. And she doesn't solve the problem. She doesn't create the vaccine for these fucking monsters. So he never had the vaccine. The future never happens. The whole thing. All these people who came back with him into the past, who from the future, none of those fuckers even exist. Tomorrow what? It's absolute cock.
Well, that's what Chris Pratt is, though. He's like the Disney Vin Vin Diesel, isn't he?
Disney Vin Diesel. There you go. Yeah. So yeah. Tomorrow War, absolute dog shit. It really is.
I'm gonna say I'm not sold on it.
No.
Disney Vin Diesel, I like that. Is he going to be in Furious and Fast?
It's all about family.
The Disney race game.
It's all about family.
Family. Anyway, so don't watch it, basically. Just don't. Just save yourself a lot of aggro, because every conceivable scene has something stupid in it where you go, what? And that's about it.
Man.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's it, really. Let's move on to feedback, because I haven't got anything else and time's running on. Yes. Oh God, we could have done a whole podcast on Tomorrow War, and it would just been quite amusing. I think we should have done it, to be honest.
Well, maybe we should. Maybe we should watch.
No, I'm not
Tomorrow
watching.
War.
I'm not watching it again. Fuck no.
That's
no.
all right.
Well, it's Jim's turn next week.
Yeah, Jim, don't. For God's sakes, don't. Anyway,
do it.
Don't. So anyway, yes, we got some feedback for last week's episode. Last week's episode we did Whiplash, aka Anxiety the movie, which is making it the second of our anxiety movies after St. Maud and now Whiplash. So we had two pieces of feedback, really. The first one was from Chetan Joshi, who wrote to say that I really enjoyed Whiplash again on this viewing. I hadn't seen it since it came out. And I also remember that there was a great analysis video comparing it to Black Swan and the characters' mentalities. And I did watch it. The link is on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/group/The Black Dog Podcast. And it is a really good comparison, actually. If you've seen Black Swan and Whiplash, it's really worth a look. It's called Whiplash versus Black Swan, The Anatomy of an Obsessed Artist.
I haven't seen Black Swan yet, but I have been meaning to for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that analysis.
Yeah.
It hasn't really given anything away
No.
because it is saying that they're pretty much the same.
Yeah, so that's worth a look. And the second piece of feedback we got was from Jack Woodgate, who's still maintaining the Black Dog soundtrack playlist on Spotify. God bless him. And he said, "Can I just mention J.K. Simmons's Guns? You know, the old gun show." Old J.K. Simmons. Because we live in a world in which we have a mature man who looks like this, is an award-winning actor, and is no stranger to playing superheroes, and yet none of the cokeheads in Hollywood have ever held his promo shot in one hand and a copy of Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns in the other. Cool. There you go. So, appreciation for J.K. Simmons. You may change your mind if you watch Tomorrow War. He is in that. And he is the best thing in it, but he's in it for about 6.5 minutes, I think.
Is it? Does he have the guns on show? And
He does have the guns on show.
He does. Oh, there we go.
The man is ripped.
Yeah, he is. I think he had to do so to get into play. What is it? When he was doing Jim Gordon,
which is even more stupid considering like the fact he's under a trench coat and only seen for about 3 minutes in a 4-hour movie.
Indeed.
But anyway, there you go. Well, you know, God bless him. God bless J.K. Simmons. That's what I say. And that's that. So that's the feedback. If you have heard anything on this podcast or you want to feedback on another podcast, by all means, send us feedback in. Send it over to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com for our email. Or you can go on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/blackdogpodcast, or the Black Dog Podcast, sorry. And just leave a comment underneath the episode. What else? That's about it, really. Yeah, we're on Twitter, but I'm on Twitter about as often as I'm, I don't know, on a treadmill at this point. Right. So anyway, we shall leave it there. We shall now roll a jingle, and then we'll be back to talk Birdman.
I see it's nearly 5 o'clock. I'm here at home, my work's all done. No question where I'll be tonight, a place of cinematic fun. It's the lockdown, but I will not pout. Oh, my friends, I won't be seeing this out alone. There's Lee and Elton and Jim and Darren, all sitting far apart for social distance. We're at the shut-in cinema, down in the bunker of shun. Down in the bunker of shun.
Hey fellas, it's been nearly 5 years. You gonna let me out now or what?
No. Right, so Birdman, or as its more full name is, Birdman or the Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. Is a 2014 American black comedy drama, a film directed by Alejandro Inarritu, and was written by Inarritu, Nicholas Glaibon, and Alexander Delanis. God blimey, I'm having real fun with this. And Armando Bo. The film stars Michael Keaton as Regan Thompson, a faded Hollywood actor best known for playing the superhero Birdman, as he struggles to mount a Broadway adaptation of the short story by Raymond Carver. The film also features a supporting cast by Zach Galifianakis, Edward Norton, Andrea Riseborough, Amy Ryan, Emma Stone, and Naomi Watts. The film covers a period of previews leading up to the play's opening, and with a brief exception, appears to be filmed as if in a single shot, an idea Inarritu had in the film's conception. Cinematographer Emmanuel Lubetsky believed that the recording time necessary for such a long-take approach would not have been made with older technology, and the film was shot in New York City during the spring of 2013. It had a budget of $16.5 million, and it made how much at the cinema? Let's go with you, Jim.
I think it earned 3 snare drums, a kettle drum, and a rim shot.
Euphemism.
Euphemism.
Okie dokie. Elton, how much do you reckon it made?
A pair of Y-fronts owned by Michael Keaton.
Nice. Okay, Darren?
I think it earned a broken vase and a half-naked stroll through Times Square.
Lovely. Just what you need. just what you need just to brighten your day. Okay, well, it actually made $103 million.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow, indeed. $103 million. So it's done quite well for such a tiny, tiny budget. Right, we'll do the usual round the table, this quick one-line review, and then we will move on to what else we want to talk about at this film, because I'm sure there's going to be a bit, to say the least. Right, so we'll go around the table first. Darren, this is your film, so you'll go last. And we'll start with you, Jim. What did you think of Birdman?
Well, this was the second time I'd seen it. I had seen it before, but I was watching it on a plane on a red-hard flight, which wasn't ideal conditions for this sort of a movie.
No.
And so I was keen to see it again because I thought it was just the business of being on a plane and constant interruptions. I hadn't grasped it fully. I thought the cast were excellent, very strong performances. I thought it had a lot to say about the nature of fame and art and whatnot. But I did think by the end it suffered from kitchen sink syndrome.
Throw it all in.
Yep.
Yeah, fair enough. Okie dokie. Elton, what about you, sir? What do you think of it?
First time seeing it,
Mm-hmm.
I think it is a good film, but I didn't enjoy it.
Okie dokie.
I'm not saying it's a bad film. It is a good film. It's just not for me.
Okie dokie. For me, I can't remember whether I said it was my first or second time watching this film, but I'm going to say first because as far as I'm concerned, I couldn't remember it watching it this time round. So, I watched it and I found it was a game of two halves. On the one hand, there was a lot of the story that just punched me right in the gut and it's sort of like, here's a mirror and look at yourself, look at yourself, look at yourself. And I was kind of like, oh, God. Oh, God, I'm too old for this shit. I don't really want to be looking at this. And so that caused a bit of introspection. The other half, though, was me sitting there going, stop with the fancy camera work. Stop with the fucking atonal squonk fest that was the fucking jazz cymbal, trombone, jazz flute, bloke falling down the stairs while holding a sort of one-man band. Just lay off the style and tell a fucking story. So I found that on one hand I was intensely irritated by it. On the other hand, it was kind of one of those films that was rattling around in my brain for a couple of days afterwards, making me feel bad about myself, which I guess is kind of part of the point. But yeah, so whether or not I can say I enjoyed it or whether or not I appreciated it is kind of a fine line. I liked it and I appreciated it for what it tried to do. Would I watch this again? No. I don't know if that helps. I don't know if that's a good review or not, or if that's just me being sort of sitting on the fence. But over to you, Dal. What did you think of it?
Well, this is my second time watching it.
Yeah.
And of course, I wasn't watching it as late as I did when I watched it yesterday. The first time I saw it, so I was quite compos mentis. I must admit, it was a bit hard going to begin with, and I decided to start it again, felt a bit more awake, and just go for it. I like the way it's shot like a play. You could almost take this, and it could, you could actually just transpose it straight to the stage. Almost everything in it, almost shot for shot. To the actual stage, because that's what it felt like. As much as I'm not a big fan of him, there was a little bit of Woody Allen in there, I think, as well, because of that. I think just a tiny bit. I mean, I haven't really seen that many Woody Allen films, but so I did like that aspect of it. Again, like you said, it does kind of hit hard on some of the stuff, that sort of, this person who used to be, the big un and basically just fucked off to be a yak farmer or whatever because he couldn't take it, and then comes back trying to make it big, like it's his last chance or whatever. It's kind of sad that in the end this is what he all seem to have left. So yeah, as you say, there were bits that really hit hard, the drinking, the critic stuff, that kind of thing. All in all, the running, it seemed a little bit long.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen films that are 2 hours before that don't seem like they're 2 hours. Whereas this one seemed a little bit longer than 2 hours, or maybe 2.5 hours, but it wasn't.
Was it Barnard too long?
It was Barnard too long.
Oh, we haven't had one of them for a while.
Indeed. But like I say, I still enjoyed it. There's for me, there was a lot in it. So I really enjoy the performances. It's nice to see people like Zach Galifianakis actually putting out a turn seem different to what he normally does.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go.
Playing it straight.
playing it straight and playing it slightly different to his usual stuff. So yeah, there we go. Performances were great. Yeah, enjoyed what I saw on screen, but I felt it was a little bit too long.
Okie dokie. Right. Well, I mean, firstly, let's go for the superficial stuff. I mean, it tries really hard to do this whole camera work, all looking like one shot thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've already said myself, I found it fairly distracting and annoying until eventually I sort of learned to ignore it rather than admire it. How did you guys feel about, firstly that decision, or did it add anything to the film in the first place, or did you appreciate it? What about this one camera thing? I mean, what did you think of it?
I think Darren's right in saying that it does make it feel like a play. Obviously, they are making a play in the middle of this, aren't they? So
yeah,
that's kind of the crux of it. But I sat there trying to work out where the breaks were.
I did that as well.
Whenever it went dark, basically.
Or someone walked across the screen. There was a blatant moment where I think Naomi Watts was walking off stage and she was pissed off. And someone walked in front of her, and then her hair was totally different. But she was still walking. Like, okay, there was a massive cut there, scene there. And then, whenever it went dark into a bar or anything like that, it was changing. It was just trying too hard. It felt, I do like a long shot. I think sometimes they work really, really well.
Yeah.
And trying to do a whole movie like that, you have to applaud them for trying to actually do that. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, exactly.
But when your audience is sat there trying to work it out, it means that you've failed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I shouldn't be sat there. I should get halfway through the movie and go, oh, hang on, this has all been one shot, isn't it? But I didn't. I saw it. It was panning too much, and it was too close to the face as well. I could smell Ed Norton's breath at one point. It was just too close. And I know it's supposed to feel intimidating, and it did. But it was distracting at the same time. And if I'm distracted, then I'm going to lose concentration on it. So from that perspective of just the choice of a single shot-esque movie, it didn't work for me. There's some beautiful moments which I thought were really, really good. You know that bit where he's walking through the city in his underpants, and then it goes viral, and then you see the viral footage of it, and we followed him behind his back through the doors into the auditorium.
Yeah.
And then they repeat the shot. I know it's just them repeating the shot again with Keaton doing exactly the same thing. But it was nice to see, oh, hang on, we were right behind him when we were doing that, and now we're stuck at the doors watching him walk away. And I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
But once again, I was sat there going, oh, okay, I noticed that because that's part of the shot. And it's just, do you want me to notice that or do you not want me to notice that? And like people say with music, if you notice the music too much, then it's not really working, is it?
Yeah. What about you, Jim? What did you think of it?
To be honest, I kind of forgot it was all one shot fairly early on. I thought there was individual scenes where the flowing camera was really nice and it gave you some really good dynamic scenes. But I didn't really see the point of, other than gimmickry, of trying to make out the whole 2-hour film is one shot. We know it's not. We all know it's not. And 2 hours is too long to engage my intention with going, ooh, look at that clever camera work.
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's equivalent of kind of this sort of thing I always sort of go to the guitar solo. This is like someone, I'll do a whole concert album, but you know what the clever thing about it's going to be? There's going to be one guitar solo that runs through the entire fucking thing and never stops. Woohoo! And that sounds cool on paper, but in reality, you just tune it out after a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, things like guitar solos, they're effective when they're orchestrated.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a brilliant, like, one-shot scene in Children of Men. And that's played perfectly to really bring that particular scene of, the chase down the road, and it puts you in the picture. When it's all the time, it becomes pointless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, you start to wonder what the point of it is, isn't it? I mean, did anyone get the sense? I mean, we'll come to you, Dale. I mean, what do you think about it? I mean, what did you think of the shot? Because the other thing I was wondering was, you picked up on it being like a play.
Yeah.
But do you think there was anything else to it? I mean, or was it just dumb as a gimmick, or did it bother you?
The actual camera work? No. I don't think it bothered me at all, to tell you the truth. I went with it, and it is just watching where, are we going to spot a break? Where is it? Where is it kind of, where did they call cut on this?
Yeah. Yeah. But do you think it represented anything? Did it do anything for you? I mean,
no.
Other than just being a gimmick,
I think it was trying to be more in real time for most of it than, all the stuff that was going on. It had a couple of jumps in time, but most of it was kind of in real time to give you that. I think it was a sense of urgency. But it wasn't that kind of, for me, added to the emotion. I know you've got a bit of a problem with the drum stuff. Yeah, but that, for me, kind of, the drumming got more intense the more frantic it was getting with it was a bit like, listening to acid jazz. It's kind of, it started going into that, the more the character was starting to fall apart. The more he was getting frantic about something, then it would increase. It would be that heavy drumming, but then it would, as it got calmer, you'd hear the drumming just fading a bit, but then it would again come in. And I think that's what they were trying to do with it, was to just emphasise that like quite a lot of that kind of jazz, it is what they're going through is chaotic. It's that whole thing of anything can go wrong at any minute. With this production, like the fucking light falling out the ceiling and hitting the actor.
Yeah, I must admit, I did laugh.
Yeah, exactly. Right, you get that, and it's like, he's a fucking shit actor anyway.
Yeah,
glad it happened.
I mean, I get the music being a motif for chaos, and the more chaos that enters into the film, the more that music comes to the front. But I mean, to me, it started off as being an anxiety-inducing thing, and it's like, you're sort of sitting there listening to it, getting more sort of thing, and I'm like, oh, I'm feeling a bit anxious now, because it's doing exactly that. But there comes a point, and this is probably what I'm getting around to with that music, and what Jim brought up, that the music is effectively telling you what to do, how to feel. The film isn't showing you. The music's doing it, and that's kind of the one thing I kind of hated with all of that stuff, and that's why I was kind of saying at the beginning, I felt very, I don't know, very, very distracted and hating all that sort of one camera move, the cacophony jazz kind of thing, because I kind of felt like Elton, if the music and the visuals are having, the music and the camera work's trying to do something and distract you, then you're not getting told the story. I want to focus on the story. But, I mean, did anyone else feel that? I mean, I know, Elton, you were saying, if it's distracting you, then it's not doing its job.
Well, I'm there to watch a movie and to watch a story. And I'm watching everything around the story. I'm more interested in what's going on, how they've built this story, instead of the actual story itself.
Yeah, you're looking at the man behind the curtain rather than the thing on the stage, yeah.
I think it's really clever. I think it's very, very clever. It's very arty, and a lot of love has gone into it. This is why I said I think it's a very good film, but it's not for me. But there is a lot of love and passion gone into this, and it works really well. And I think if I saw it again, then hopefully I won't be as distracted because I'm going into it going, okay, right, they do this the whole way through. Like you say with the Children of Men and that one shot. Was it Jim?
Around the car,
you said
Jim
that.
was saying it,
And it was through the building as well. You needed that because it's intense. It's claustrophobic. You're trying to get out of somewhere. And at every point you turn, something is going on. Not every single thing has to be picked up in this, though. There's moments where they're like, oh, well, hang on, now we need to go back to the stage. And it's frustrating. And some hours or minutes and moments pass between one shot and another shot as well. There's a part where Emma Stone and Norton are up in the rafters having a bit of a snog. And then all of a sudden it comes down onto the stage and Edward Norton's already there acting away. So time has passed, but I'm interested in what's going on. Tell me the story and stop faffing around and trying to shove. They're forcing this onto me. They're forcing the one angle and, oh, look at this. Look, it's arty. I'm up against Edward Norton's cheek. It's really nice. He's got a lovely cheek. I don't want to be next to his cheek. I want a wide shot. I want to actually hear what they're trying to say, because the mumbling that went on in this movie, it was mumble, and Keaton was like mumble, and it's just constant mumbling. Stop mumbling. Speak your words, and pull out from the face.
I'll be honest. I didn't have that problem. Normally I do, but I didn't have that problem so much.
Oh, it's proper mumbly. It was Mumbletown.
Maybe I'm just more tuned into Michael Keaton since about 1998. I mean, 1992, wasn't it? Or 91 when Batman came out?
89.
Speaking of that, 89, there you go. I mean, okay. I mean, what about that? I mean, Keaton being Batman and then turning up in this. I mean, is that, and then the whole commentary on the superhero genre coming forward. I mean, how did you feel about that? Do you feel that was clever? Do you feel that was like a cheap shot? I mean,
no, I think they got the right actor to play that. I think, they obviously are riffing off of his history. And can I just say, I did like that sort of little swipe at rumours being generated on the internet.
Oh,
oh dear, is it true you inject was it pig semen into your face? Where'd you hear that? Oh, well, it was I stick beans up your nose 69 on Twitter has said that. So what do you say to that?
Yeah.
So you're denying it? I'm not. No.
Why would anyone say that?
Exactly. Yeah. It's that whole thing of some fucking faceless fucking entity out there has started a rumour on the basis of nothing.
I mean,
there you go.
I mean, that's an interesting point. I mean, that leads into one of the bigger themes, which is, he's a man out of time.
Yeah,
he's a guy trying to catch the old glory days without understanding the world he's gone into. Has anyone got any thoughts on that? How they felt about it, or how it was portrayed? Because to me, it was just like, a guy who just, it's like when I'm trying to explain how MP3s work to my dad. You know what I mean? Or Alexa or something like that.
Well, with Keaton himself, and I think, do you know what? I don't know actually. I think he's a great actor, and I did enjoy him in Batman and stuff like that. And I get why they're ripping on it as well. It kind of works. It kind of adds well, it is his story of doing that, really, isn't it? He disappeared for a long, long time, didn't he? But
he did.
do I need to see the same person doing that? I suppose in a perfect world, if it wasn't Keaton, we'd all be going, well, Michael Keaton should have played that, shouldn't he? He would have been really good. So I suppose they had no choice but to do that. They might do it with Val Kilmer one day as well. You never know.
Yeah, airlifting him in the C-130 in Top Gun 2. Anyway,
I think it works. It's a nice little knot. It kind of comes full circle on the actual story, doesn't it? I know it's not the Batman story, but the Birdman's got the gruff voice and stuff like that. I didn't understand all the flying around shit though. Why were we flying around?
Well, it's more to do with Michael Keaton's perception of his reality. It's like you see him when he's sitting in the dressing room and he's doing all the psychic or the telekinetic shit.
Yeah.
And then somebody walks in to see him losing his rag and he's actually grabbing stuff with his hands. So it's like, whereas you think, has he actually got fucking abilities? And then you realise that, this has proved the point that this is what he's seeing in his head. He even comes out and says, that light that fell on that person's head, I think I did it. That was me. And fucking Zach Galifianakis is like, what are you talking about? He's like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
I think I lost half the plot with all the mumbling though.
Yeah.
I think I lost half of it. And I liked it when Ed Norton was there. I think he added a bit of spice into the actual movie itself, because I think with just Michael Keaton, it's very grey, dark, drippy type thing, and Norton came along with a bit of zest. But I
think you need Norton's character because it is kind of, he's a theatre actor, and Keaton's a movie actor, and there's this big, for want of a better word, culture war between the two. I think that's kind of where the heart of the story is that kind of what is, what makes good art. It is good art doing something that is very, very clever, and just 1,000 people are going to shake their chin, go, oh yes, that's very clever. Or is it a billion bums on seats entertaining people? Which is better? If you know what I mean. And that's the kind of there is that tension in the art world between highbrow culture, lowbrow culture. Yeah. I think with the Birdman thing, I mean, it's my very good late friend, when we first saw it, he said they should have just paid the money and got the rights to use Batman and gone the full meta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, then that would have worked. That would have worked a lot better in many ways. Just done it as a complete meta text on how these things make billions of dollars, and yet the people who play them are still going to end up on the streets trying to do, essentially wanking for coins on trying to make money. I mean,
but the flying scene though, I felt the scene when it's on top of the building. You think, okay, we're getting near the end now.
Yeah,
he's going to jump, but he seems to fly away. And you think, oh yes, this is his perception. He's really hairy gem on the pavement, But then you realise actually he's flying back to the theatre, and in reality he's got a cab which he's not paid for. But that was him literally coming to terms after the Birdman speech, because what Birdman, when he finally listens to Birdman says basically, literally, you can pick up a phone, we do Birdman 4, the world will be at our feet. Anytime you want to change your life, you can do that.
Yeah.
So what you can get some surgery. Doesn't matter. They'll still go for it. And when he realises that is his superpower, that's his ace in the hole. And it doesn't fucking matter what the cast think. It doesn't matter what Ed Norton thinks. It doesn't matter what the snooty critics think. If he wants to do this play, he can fucking do it. And if it dies in its ass, so what? Tomorrow morning, ring, hi, I'll do Birdman 4, where I'll give you the address where you can back up the truck of money to. And that's Flight is that kind of yes, I can do this.
Yeah.
However, after that, the film gets into dodgy territory, and we have the final flying scene, which makes no fucking sense whatsoever, other than kind of, we don't know how to end this. We've got 6 endings. I'll tell you what, we'll do them all.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they actually hang together and make sense. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Play the drums more, they'll never notice. And they'll think it's really clever if they don't understand it. It's kind of, that's a cheap trick. I know that cheap trick.
Yeah. I mean, there was a couple of times with those endings where by that point, I mean, it was getting so meta with the whole thing of, being a superhero, wanting to be a superhero again if he needs to make the money, all that kind of thing. I started to wonder whether or not they were taking the piss out of big franchise movies. Sort of like the Lord of the Rings. When does it end? It always ends. Oh, it ends here. No, it ends here. No, actually, it ends here. And I think that's one of the things where I kind of disappeared up my own arse with the sort of like Sood's Corner with sort of like, oh, so is this not actually nonsense? Is this actually another swipe at big mainstream movies where they don't know how to end? Or is it just that the guy didn't know how to bloody end it?
I don't think they knew how to end it. I mean, I think the perfect ending was he goes back into the theatre, you have that time lapse, then you see the crowd come out after half time and the buzz about it and everything else you can imagine.
Yeah.
If you wanted to go that bit further, I mean, I don't get kind of, after that wonderful flying sequence moment, it didn't add up, then he goes and shoots his nose off. That didn't quite hang together. I know it's a callback to another meta point that the play is doing about a guy who can't shoot himself right in one of the very early scenes. And again, but if you're going to go that far, the perfect time to end it was after Emma Stone gives him the flowers and he sort of laughs and I can't smell them. And she just gives him a hug and doesn't say anything. And she just leaves and you could just ended it there. But no, you had to go on again because this is an arty film. Oh, Christ, we can't have a happy ending. We can't have a sentimental ending. We can't have a funny ending. We can't have bumping out a tragic ending. Well, we'll just sort of fudge it all together. It'll be fine. No, it won't. It really annoyed me. Because it's kind of, I was so on board with the film and then it just kept fucking going. Like, stop it. It was like a fucking Yes, Worst of Yes song where you just think the song's finished and there's another fucking drum solo. And it's like, oh, don't you start as well. Stop it.
For fuck's sake, get off the second keyboard.
But you know what I mean? It's kind of, it just for the want of a pair of scissors and bin the last few pages of the script.
Yeah.
But once I got to that, that's when I started looking back at the rest of the film and going, well, hang on. A lot of these plot lines we built up in 2 acts suddenly just stopped and vanished, like Ed Norton's character, missing in action in Act 3.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, oh, you've not paced this story right, you stupid twats, because you're too busy drumming and doing one camera tricks, one scene tricks.
Yeah, the Andrea Riceborough and, what was it? Oh, God. What's her name? I've just lost the bloody name. My brain's gone. What's her face? Naomi Watts. That suddenly that weird love affair that suddenly springs up in the dressing room, and Edward Norton just kind of walking in on them and just going, "Yeah, fine, they've moved on, whatever, moving away," and that's almost kind of like where I was sort of like going, "Okay, fine, okay, it's gone weird," because to me, there's like 3 themes, right? And take these ideas, tell me I'm nuts or rubbish or making up this old bollocks to just string out some time. But the first one was about basically relevance, people wanting to be relevant, and what they'll do to just have someone take notice of them, right?
Yeah.
Which, whether it's Michael Keaton trying to do this stage play, whether it's, Andrea Riceborough just sort of, coming in and saying, "Oh, I'm pregnant," and then saying she's not, and, or whether it's, Edward Norton getting drunk on stage or doing all these things, or whether it's Emma Stone, being this being this complete flake, but she's trying to get her, but hanging around her father, she wants him to notice her, and so there was that, and I'm thinking, right, okay, fine, I get it now. This is all about that, but then there was this whole conversation about truth. There's this sort of subtext about truth. What are you seeing? What is real? Does Edward Norton can only get it up when he's on stage in front of 800 people, and he only feels things when he's on stage being punched. It doesn't. Things don't care to him when he's out in the real world, but he's on stage. It's all real. Whereas Michael Keaton's the other way around. He's not feeling anything until suddenly someone says, "Oh, you can make Birdman again," and it's like, "Oh, brilliant! I'm off." And then there was like a third one about ennui, which was more like, if nobody cares about anything, why should you care about anything? And time passing you by, and age, and feeling like the world's passed you by, and you're all worn down, and chances missed, and things that nobody cares about but matter to you, but nobody cares about them, and you feel that people should. And I was just like, all these things coming at me, and I'm thinking, oh, I've got stuff to really get my teeth into, really great. But then 5 minutes later, we're having a strange slapping row with Edward Norton in a tanning booth and a fucking rolled up piece of newspaper, or Michael Keaton just running around a theatre in his pants. And I'm like, okay, yeah. It's a bit weird. I don't know where I'm going with this now. What's it trying to tell me? What's this film trying to tell me? Did anyone get anything? Did anyone else agree with what I've just said? Does anybody think that there was more to it than that? Or if I missed the point entirely? I mean, anyone?
I'm still trying to digest what you just said. To be honest.
Well, I mean, okay. I mean, look, for the first bit was, sort of trying to be relevant. And, he wants to be relevant because he wants to feel like he's doing something that people care about. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, he's got this good thing going with Birdman. He walked away from it. And as Emma Stone says right at the beginning, she goes, you had a career, and then you got in that bird costume. So, now he hasn't got that anymore. What happens to this man? And this is, and she says to him, sort of, what, you're doing what everyone else is doing. They're just looking for people to notice them. So okay, we'll do that. How do you think about that? What do you guys think about that? Because otherwise I'll just waffle on and just talk over the top of you a lot.
Well, I think that's a relevant thing for, people in the arts. Or people in, at least actors anyway, in the very least actors. There is that, that little thing of narcissism that creeps in there, and after a while, when you've been in when you've lived a life where your appearance, things you do, the way you act in front of the camera becomes all important. I mean, that leaves a psychological mark on you, right? Your behaviour starts to shape itself to that. So, and this is, I think, where, if you think about it for 5 minutes, most people don't understand that because they're not in that business. So that when somebody comes out and says things like, where things that might seem superficial to us are very important to him because his life has been based on that up to that point. He went for a period of his life where that was constant. So I think that is incredibly important. The thing he was talking about, and I think it's Emma Stone, is kind of like, it doesn't matter to anybody, and it was his ex-wife.
Yeah,
he was talking to about, he was trying to make a point about something, and in the end she gets up and goes, "I love you, but goodbye," and then walks out.
Yeah. That's Farrah Fawcett dying on the same day as Michael Jackson.
He said, oh, "I've got this, I was on this plane, and I can see George Clooney, a few rows down, and if that plane crashes, then the headline will be George Clooney dies in plane crash, and there'd be nothing about me at all." And that's when he makes the point, and there's a valid point there. Did you know that on the day so and so died, Farrah Fawcett also died?
Yeah, Michael Jackson.
Yeah, but she didn't even get really a look in.
No.
It was more about Michael Jackson dying.
Yeah.
Maybe her death was like a tiny paragraph, but the biggest story. And there is like I say, when your life has been lived in the spotlight, and you're judged on what you do on screen and how well you act and stuff, that kind of thing does become important to you in your world. And a lot of people don't understand that. It's all subjective. It's that, it's not affecting their world. They think that kind of thing is superficial when he's literally been brainwashed into thinking that kind of thing is important.
But is he brainwashed, or is he just feeling what we're all feeling, but he's just in a different industry where it matters more?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's brainwashed. It's more... that's life.
It's one of those, everyone has those insecurities, but for actors, that public perception of whether you're hot or whether you're not is...
It's your career.
That's your performance appraisal, isn't it?
Yeah. It's your job. That's it. If you're not hot, then you don't earn the money. You end up fucking living in a cardboard box underneath Waterloo Bridge. It's.
But was he even worried about the money? That's what I'm saying. It's about the ego, the adoration, the recognition.
Exactly. This is the kind of point I'm trying to make. It's that. Whereas a carpenter, right? So if he has an accident with his hands, that's his career over. Well, the equivalent of that is, what if an actor loses his acting ability? What if he loses his mojo, as it were?
Or cuts his nose off to spite his face.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll get to the shooting in the face bit in a minute.
Yeah, I've got a theory about that as well, and it's not so highbrow as...
No?
No, it's incredibly lowbrow.
Okay.
I think that's stupidity. I think that was an accident.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't think he meant to do that. Because Edward Norton said to him, "Get a gun that hasn't got the thing on the end." I think he thought they were filled with blanks.
Really? Because he checks the chamber.
Yeah,
and make sure there's a bullet in it. He loads it.
But you have to load a blank just the same as a real bullet.
This is true, but he pulled it out from a shelf behind a bunch of books. To me, that's a kind of like hidden away in case someone finds it. That to me was how I saw that. I saw that as he knew what he had.
So, all right. Well, how about this?
Anyway,
then? Yeah, instead of it being a happy accident, what if he was actually going to commit suicide on stage as the ultimate way of becoming famous? What if he was that obsessed with it?
Well, that's kind of where I thought it was going, if I'm honest. I completely forgot about the comment about
it up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I totally forgot about the comment about the actual play being about a man who fails to fucking shoot himself.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that, because that's kind of a throwaway line during a row with Edward Norton, isn't it, on stage?
Yeah. And then after that conversation he has with the critic in the bar, and it's like, "I'm going to destroy your play. That's what I'm going to do." Personally, I was hoping, and I couldn't remember what the speech was he was going to give, but I was hoping it would be a little bit more profound. A little bit more sort of holding the mirror up to the critic and saying, "Well, that's fine for you to say that, but what do you produce? What art do you produce?
Well,
you produce nothing."
That critic, that stab at the critic, and again, anyone else wants to jump in on it. I thought that was a really properly good little little ping at the critics, full stop. And obviously, in many ways, we are. Not as highfalutin perhaps, but the idea of sitting here and giving our verdict and on someone else's work.
I don't think it was even that. I think it was the fact that she hadn't even seen the play and she was doing this out of spite. And she didn't even know the guy. She doesn't even know Michael Keaton's character. She's not like big friends with him or anything like this. But she decided because she didn't like the cut of his suit or whatever, something as unimportant, that was going down the drain. And it's arrogance. Yeah,
she wanted to ruin it, didn't she?
Yeah. Through
arrogance. She saw her role as a critic as being equal to the artist. She is the gatekeeper. Her word is law, and she decides what will be successful and what will fail, depending on if she thinks they're worthy.
Yeah, and there was also the whole thing of, as Jim's just said, she's being a gatekeeper, but she's also keeping out the Hollywood riffraff from the true faith of the Broadway, the Broadway stage. He's using his clout and his name recognition to basically get to where other people would have had to work. As Edward Norton says, when you're sitting there in your Malibu beach, I'll be working, giving out my soul and all this sort of thing. And she's in the same mind. She wants people who've actually fought for this, rather than just swanned in with some Hollywood privilege. So she was going to destroy him as kind of almost a warning to others, the way I read it.
But again, it's like, that's not really doing your job, is it?
No.
That's it. That's using your privilege as this person that everybody listens to destroy something because you don't like the look of something. You're not even delving into it. You're not even experiencing it, and you're already cutting that out because your opinion apparently is more important than anything else.
Yeah. I mean, again, it comes down to that whole thing about truth, which was the other theme. There's objective truth. This thing is happening. I can see it. And then there's, truth as in, I'm on stage. I'm feeling these things, method acting. I am, experiencing these things. I'm properly drinking gin to be properly drunk on stage so I can properly act drunk. And
he would always choose truth instead of the dare as well, wouldn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And then there's and like I say, the subjective truth is that's when he feels, when he's, putting himself into a character, he feels it, and he feels the reality of the situation. And the critic is doing the same thing. She's putting her truth, her reality out there. That this is how things are. This is how things should be. This is how I see things should be. And and again, we see, Michael Keaton's truth, which is, that he has magical powers, and and people will come to see him because he's trying to do something different and get away from Birdman. But it's a subjective truth. It's not objective. It's him doing what he thinks is happening rather than what is actually happening, which he's doing some 2-bit play and trying to make a name for himself again, get back on the stage. Where am I going with this? I mean, how did it make you guys feel? I mean, that whole thing about the ennui and wanting to feel relevant. Did you empathise with that, or did you just sit there like going, fucking hoity-toity creative types, trying to pretend that really is a big deal? Were you on his side? Is what I'm trying to say. Were you on his side in the argument, or were you on the sort of like Emma Stone side of like, what? Nobody cares. And in 5 minutes' time, this, using this podcast as an example, 5 minutes after this podcast ends, everyone's just going to fuck off and make themselves a Starbucks or sit down and just turn on the telly and forget it.
I could see both sides of things, especially when Emma Stone's ripping into him. You know, when he comes into the office and he's like, "I'm really sorry. I should have been a better dad," and stuff like that. And I think he finds a bit of pot, etc. And then she absolutely tore him to shreds, just about being relevant and about it. Well, she was diving into like the social media side of things. You don't exist. You need to exist. And if you don't exist, then what is the point of existing if you don't really turn up on anyone's face or wall or anything like that? It's really
you don't turn up on anyone's radar. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's the point in doing all this work if you're not actually going to be there? And I kind of get that.
Yeah.
You know, we've all ploughed hours into this, and we sometimes sit there going, "Is it really worth it?" Sometimes I'm not too sure, but I think when it comes down to it, it is worth it because I have fun with it. So who cares what other people think? But then I'll have my other days of that wasn't a lot of downloads. What the hell was going on?
Yeah,
and other days will be like, "Fuck it, who's downloading this? Imagine a room full of all these people. That'd be crazy." So I get the relevance of that as well. But I suppose from his perspective, he has something and he has a passion that he wants to put this play on. And that's important to him. Just that thing, just there, that is important. And that's what he wants to do. And he doesn't understand why people want to cut him down, etc. And it is a bit unfair, isn't it?
Well, the thing is, he's kind of accused in various degrees by nearly everybody else that he's doing this as to grab some kudos, to gain some respect, to prove he's a serious actor after having been in Birdman. But, you know, the real reason is he wants to do this because it was kind of Raymond Carver was his inspiration. He has that lovely little story, but that's how he knew he was going to be an actor. And I do think putting this on at any cost, it's something he just deep down he just wants to do as a kind of as a thank you. He doesn't care it's unfashionable. He doesn't, and he's quite prickly that he has to deal all this double think of other people judging him and saying, "Why are you doing this?" and blah blah blah. And shouldn't you do this? Shouldn't you do that? I think it's kind of, if you do anything sort of creatively, I think you have to ask yourself the question, because am I doing this to be famous, to get rich, or am I doing it because I'm making serious art? And actually, I mean, my personal feeling on that is actually both of those paths lead to heartbreak. Because you might do serious art, but you go, "God damn it, I'm doing serious art and I'm still poor and no one knows who the fuck I am." I want to be famous. Yeah. But if you're famous, you're going, "Oh shit, I'm just a sellout. Why aren't I doing serious art? Where did it go wrong?" And, you know, if you look at any sort of biographies or listen to interviews with film stars or musicians or artists, you see that comes up time and time again. They push me, pull you. At the end of the day, you've got to do it because you get a kick out of it. As Stephen King says, you do it because you love it, otherwise you're a monkey. Yeah. And you're a monkey whether you're doing it for art or for fame and celebrity. It's the same deal, flip sides of the same coin, and it's a devil's bargain. You have to do it for you. Yeah. I think Keaton's trying to work that out, and it's kind of the flying scene is him just kind of finally just going, just bollocks. I want to do this. Nothing else matters. Yeah. You know what I mean? Fuck it. You know what I mean? He just finally gets all those people out of his head and off his back. Yeah. And if, you know, it's a wonderful scene where he just like flies, and it's a wonderful shot of him, you know, like you have that joy of flying, and it is that kind of symbolism of him just going from his lowest point. He's got that point where he suddenly get that moment of clarity. You go, you know what? Everyone else, it doesn't fucking matter. I can do this. I don't care if I lose my money. I want to do it. Fuck them all. Yeah.
In that respect, he's a success, isn't he? Really,
it is, until the movie continues and undercuts it and fucks it up. But, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, because you know, bring it round to me because it's got to be about me, darling. It's always about me.
No, it's
But
always about you.
It's always about me. But that was one of the things that was hitting home, was that whole thing of, you know, you're sitting there, you're going, oh God, the world's moving on. There's younger people who can do what I can do, and they do it better, and you kind of wind yourself up, and you're sort of sitting there like, well, use my example. This is turning into a slightly psychological session.
Lay down on the sofa.
Yeah,
tell us your story.
Tell us the story. But the thing that I felt was like for example, with me, it's like, you know, how often have I dined out on the fucking, I worked at Blur, I did Blur, and I did Blur, and it's just like, and I just felt myself being reflected back with that sort of with the Michael Keaton character, kind of, you know, wanting to sort of not wanting to stand there and go, yes, I did this, 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 and this, but on the other hand, wondering why nobody recognises you for doing this, 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 and then sitting there going, I'll never have that again. I'm never going to be that good again. Oh, look, there's a young person down the road who can do all of this stuff and better and with more clarity and more plaudits and more everything else, and you just go, oh God, I'm dead. Why am I bothering anymore? And then you get like I don't know, you get the sort of, you know, the creative equivalent of basically, I don't know.
It's imposter syndrome, isn't it?
You get imposter syndrome, but you also get that reverse version of, you know, you get the version of sort of creative version of what was going on with Edward Norton. You know, he can't get it up in 8 months until he goes on the stage and then it matters. Mm-hmm. You know, not necessarily my problem, but I'm just saying that, you know, you go out, you kind of sitting there going, oh, yes, it's all great. I'm super creative. I have all these things going on, and and then all of a sudden, like, once it all goes away, you're just sitting there going, I can't bother to draw a picture for Instagram. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, God, and that ennui, and then time moving past and all the technology moving on, and, you know, okay, it's not Twitter, me shunning Twitter, but, you know, that whole thing of just going, oh God, ugh.
Yeah, and how relevant are you?
Yeah, exactly. How relevant am I, sort of thing. And yeah, and that bit, all of that element of sort of like truth and ennui and subjective truth and the ego and the need for validation and the need to be acknowledged and seen and all this kind of stuff, on top of your creative juices or whatever you want to call it, you know, your creative oomph, I just caught that right in the chops. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm gonna go walk out under a bus. I'll go and have a flying sequence, except I think I might actually turn to jam at the bottom of the hill.
Which is really annoying, because I think I would have not enjoyed having that, but it would have been nice to have had that bit of roller coaster for myself. But I was just sat there going, have they had a cut yet? And it's really fucking annoying. What, you know, they're still on one shot. They had a cut there. That's what I mean about, I was so taken out of the film and lost most of it with the flipping one cut thing. Stupid. And you have to think of this movie as well. I'm assuming it is a bit of a dig at all the people and the whole industry as well. But then again, it's also trying to be, but we're very artsy in this movie. Now, there is a thin line of, oh, look at us, we're being artsy, and we're taking the piss out of people being artsy. And I'm not too sure what side of this line this film sat, because one minute it's poking at journalists and critics and film actors and then theatre actors, etc. Yeah. And then it's going, but we're making this really artsy film, and we're being really artsy, and then we're being very, very coy about it because, oh look, he's cut his nose off despite his face, etc. And then he looks like, when he's been repaired in the hospital, he has a cowl on, he looks like Batman, etc. It's like, how far are you taking this? I don't understand how far you want to take this. are you trying to be this weird superhero movie, etc., or are you trying to be this artsy movie, or are you trying to have a stab at people, or are you falling back on we're trying to be artsy, but if people take it as a critic, then so be it. But if they take it one step further, then really it's artsy. It hasn't decided what side of the line it wants to be on.
Mm.
And wherever you decide,
Yeah.
someone would turn around and say, "Oh no, well actually you took it too far, and you're far too far over that line."
Yeah.
And that goes along with all the reviews I've seen online for this.
Right.
They're either 10 out of 10, or 1 out of 10.
Mm.
There's loads for 10, and there's loads for 1. And people saying it's an absolute masterpiece and giving it all the plaudits it deserves.
Mm.
And also saying, the people that are putting 1-star reviews just don't get it. But
Yeah.
I think that's a bit unfair.
Mm.
But that's what the storm this movie has created.
Yeah, it's that whole thing of, the people who get it really get it. The people who don't really don't. And I understand both sides, but I don't think it's that polarizing. I think personally, I think that, like I say, there's bits which irritate me, the soundtrack, the one take thing, but the themes and the acting and the main thrust of the story, I really dug.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I felt it was kind of, for the want of tidying up the ending.
Mm.
I mean, backseat driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to me, I really felt it unravelled at the end because they couldn't commit to one kind of ending over another, so they tried to fudge it with them all, which it ended on a bit of a downer, and a bit kind of like, oh, really?
Mm.
But 95% of it, I was completely engaged with. You know what I mean? I'd say it's for the crazy. We live in a world where everything has to be the best thing ever or the worst thing ever. Yeah. And this is one of the cases. This is a good movie. It was very close for me for being a great movie.
Mm.
And, I know there's not such thing as a perfect movie. All films have flaws. But for me, the flaws, as Teresa put it, the ending was inelegant.
Yes. That's a good way of putting it.
Mm.
I mean, yeah. Where would... Okay, let's go around the table. I mean, firstly, just to reiterate, Jim, where would you end? Where would you have ended it?
I'd have ended it after that flying scene. He goes into the theatre, we have the time lapse, we see nightfall, we see people going in, then we see the people coming out and just buzzing about it.
Mm. Yeah.
And I don't think we really needed anything else after that. It was surplus to requirement of the storyline. That ticked all the boxes, and I think you could have just left that there, and that would have been a satisfying ending. It's kind of, it leaves you to decide what happened afterwards, whether she gives a good review or bad review. But, it leaves it with the good open ending rather than the frustrating, you didn't tell me what happened ending.
Yeah. Okie dokie. What about you then, Elton? How did you think it ended? Or where it should have ended, shall we say?
Okay, where do I think it should have ended? I think it should have ended on stage with the gunshot.
Yeah?
Yep.
Actually, yeah.
Mm.
But I'm not too sure whether it should have been the gunshot and gone straight to black, or the crowd applauding and it fading to black. I'm still not too sure. Okay. But it should have ended on stage.
Okay. And just so we know, why do you think that?
I think that is a natural conclusion. He's been working so hard to put this performance on, and everything goes right for this night. It just seems like the perfect crescendo to it. And then, because you see the little critic walk out after the gunshot, and then everyone's like awkwardly clapping, and then it turns into a rapturous applause. I think that is because, they put on such a great show, and for him to possibly kill himself at that point, he's completed his task, but he's not there to actually see it. That's the gutting thing about it.
Okay.
Whereas he's striving for people to see him etc. Now people see him, but he's not there to appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay then. And what about you, Dal? You agreeing there? What do you think?
I think the gunshot and then fade and just go to black and that's it. Just leave it. Oh, did he commit suicide or what?
Yeah.
And that's it. Just end it with that.
Cool. Okay. And why do you think? Or what do you think? Why to end it that way? What? In what respect?
I don't know. It just would have been better, I think.
Okay.
I'd say with the actual ending, with him climbing out the window and assuming he's floating around, etc., and Emma Stone looking and seeing him and looking like an anime character out the window, going, "Ooh," I don't get it.
Mm.
Can he fly then? I don't know. It's what is that?
I think symbolically it's him finally realising he doesn't need Birdman, as Jim's already said.
Yeah.
And then, but not only that, but he's got a new lease of life, and he's enjoying that moment without the chaos, without the craziness, validated, basking in sunlight, basking in the glow of a new career, essentially.
Yeah.
And then symbolically, his daughter's coming back in to see him ascend. I think she's being represented symbolically there as basically appreciating him going up.
Gotcha.
Finally seeing him in the same way as he sees himself, if you know what I mean. And whereas at the beginning of the film she really doesn't, and she doesn't see the point.
Yeah. Now she gets it.
Sort of thing. That's how I'd see it. But I mean, as far as it goes for me, I mean, my ending, it's a completely different take on this. I mean, it all starts to go on the wonk, and he's really not happy anymore, and he's gone off, and he knows that there's critics going to destroy him, and he gets really drunk, and he goes into the street, and he falls asleep on the pavement, and then he goes up to the roof, and there's that guy going, "You okay?" And it's the only person who actually recognises him and sort of goes, "Oh, are you okay, man? You sure you want to step down?" and all this sort of thing. And then you get that one moment of someone shouting across, "Are you really doing it, or you're making a film?" And he goes, "Making a film." and they go, "Fuck you," sort of like, "Oh, we
screw you, arsehole.
Screw you, yeah, because you're not doing something they wanted to see."
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's kind of the key, sort of like the final straw, that the only way he could be recognised is if he jumped. The only way anyone would take any notice is if he actually jumped. He was at his lowest ebb. The whole thing was falling apart. The critic was going to destroy him. There's nothing he can do. Nobody cares for him. He feels completely, wasted. That's the end of it. And there's Birdman in there saying all you got to do is just become Birdman, sort of thing. And then the bloke says, "Oh, what are you doing?" And then he gets heckled.
Yeah.
And I just thought, he just turns around and goes, "Yeah, I know what I need to do." And it is that final moment of just like, well, the only way anyone's going to take notice now is if I fall 14 floors to the ground, and everyone recognises my bloated corpse on the pavement. So, to me, I think it should have just ended with him going, "Yeah, I know what I need to do." Off the side, end. You don't see him land, you don't see him fly, you don't see him do anything. I thought that's where it's ending. Because, he turns around and he says, "I'm making a film."
Yeah.
And the guy recognises him, and, I just thought, to me, that was just the thing. I just thought, that's it. That's where he's gone. That's how he's going. That's how it would end. Because really, that's the only way left that he's got any control to basically, control his own image, control his own recognition.
And to control the way he goes out of the world.
And the control, where he's actually
on his own terms.
On his own terms, completely in. And the other thing is he's already done it once with the jellyfish in the sea.
Yeah.
that conversation there. So, to me, it would have been a much more downer ending. But maybe Jim's ending is probably most optimistic and probably the one we should have gone with. For me, him just going, right, I know what I need to do. He literally says that, I know what I need to do. Jump.
Mm-hmm.
Credits. And that, to me, would have been kind of appropriate. But that's just me. That's just me, and hey, what can I say? I'm not. The film didn't leave me in a mentally great state, I'll be honest. But there you go. Right. Has anybody got any last thoughts, or shall I just wrap it up?
I think I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I it's one of the movies where I think I should have really enjoyed it more, but I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I'm gonna. If I said at the beginning, I didn't really feel like I'd be watching this again, but actually, the more I think about it, the more I think I might.
Right.
But yeah, but that's my only other thought. But Jim, Darren, you got any other thoughts?
Not really. I don't think.
No.
Just one thing.
Yeah.
Going back to that bit about relevance and what have you, I think it's a bit like it is a bit like getting old and how you feel as you're getting old. You want to be useful.
Yeah.
And it's as you get older, you become less useful because your body just can't keep up. And I think I kind of identified with him what he was going through because I know how I feel about getting older, and it's. It is that kind of very not being able, fearing that people are just going to think you're useless. And that's it.
Yeah.
And you are just getting in the way.
Yeah.
That's quite a sobering sort of.
Yeah.
Yes, we all feel that.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's a deep-rooted thing of everyone. When you're younger, you don't feel like that, and it's very hard to identify with that. But as you get to sort of like our ages, as you're moving on, as you're going, and you're getting closer to, the 60s and stuff like this, it's just, and things start to go wrong. You start to get aches and pains where you never had aches and pains. It's that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can totally see where he's coming from.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to my 50th. I don't know about you, Jim. How are you feeling about your birthday coming up in August?
I'm fine with it.
All right.
Do you know what, mate? I'll tell you, after 50, it's just like ski jump on Ski Sunday. It's all downhill from there.
Yeah. What was it? It says in Birdman, 60's the new 30. Haven't you heard? Yeah. Anyway. All right then. Well, I think we'll leave it there because otherwise I'm just going to carry on depressing the fuck out of myself, and this will be the last podcast. I know what I need to do. But anyway, yeah. So that's that. That's Birdman. Has anyone else out there got any thoughts? Is there anything you think we should have covered? Anything we've missed? Have we depressed the fuck out of all of you out there? If so, let us know. And send us in some feedback either via email, which is feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, or go onto the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/theblackdogpodcast, and leave a message underneath, leave a bit of feedback underneath the episode, or hit us up on Twitter for what it's worth, which is @blackdogpodcast.com. No, just @blackdogpodcast. What am I talking about? It's fucking Twitter. Yes, talking about the man who loses relevance on Twitter.
What's his button do?
What's his button do? I don't know how to work these Twitters. Anyway, so there you go. Hit us up and send us some emails and stuff, and let us know what you thought. Right, so before we find out what everyone else is doing on their podcasts, it's time to find out what film we were going to be doing next week. And this is now Jim's choice. So, Jimothy, it's over to you, sir. What are we watching?
The Tomorrow... No. Not doing the Tomorrow War. No, I thought I'd stick with the sort of anxious, nervy sort of theme we've developed for this month.
Anxiety.
It's a film I've not actually seen, but I've been meaning to sit down and watch for ages and just never quite got round to it.
Okey-dokey.
But it is on Netflix, and it is David Fincher's Zodiac.
Oh, my life.
Oh.
Cool. Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah. So, or for the more superhero-based people in the life, what happened when the Hulk first met Tony Stark while talking to Mysterio? Anyway, and Lois Lane. Right. Okay. So, David Fincher's Zodiac. Yes. Now that's an interesting film to pick. Has everyone seen this film?
No, not at all.
You've never seen it?
No. I actually thought the Night Stalker. I actually got it mixed up with that. That's what I thought
Nightcrawler, yeah.
Yeah, Nightcrawler, one with Jake Gyllenhaal in it as well.
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal.
Okie dokie. Okay, so you know nothing about it at all then?
I know nothing.
Ooh, okie dokie. Cool. Okay, so are you looking forward to it then, knowing nothing about it?
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Brilliant. Okay, Elton, what about you, sir?
I know of it. I haven't seen it yet, but I know of the premise of it. So I'm looking forward to this.
Okay, I have seen it. I've only seen it once. It was a long time ago when I was going through a bit of a David Fincher phase. So I appreciated it at the time. Whether or not I do now is another matter, but we'll see. But yeah, no, it's a very interesting film. I'm looking forward to seeing it, assessing it again with fresh eyes, because I think at the time I was kind of expecting it to be one thing and it was something completely different. But it's a very good film, I thought, when I saw it at the time. Right, Jim. So Zodiac, yeah?
Yes, indeed.
Cool. And just remind us, did you see it? Did you say you've seen it? Or
No, I've not seen it. I've always meant to get round to seeing it and just never quite managed it somehow. So, although it's time to rectify that.
Cool. Well, this is going to be an interesting one then. Cool. So there you go. So next week, ladies and gentlemen, we will be doing Zodiac, the based on a true story of the summer. Is it the Summer of Sam or the Son of Sam?
No, it's a Zodiac Killer.
Zodiac Killer.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Zodiac Killer. Because the fucking clue is there in the title. You bonehead.
Well, the Summer of Sam. That's a good film though as well. It's my favourite Spike Lee film. That's a really
that's
good vintage serial killer film.
Yeah. I'm doing really well here, talking about old age and relevance and all that kind of stuff, and then immediately forgetting what the thing is about with the fucking title right there telling me. Zodiac Killer, yes. So there you go, the Zodiac Killer and Zodiac and David Fincher. So expect a lot of teal and green, and on the screen, and that's for next week. So until then, let's find out what everyone's doing on their respective podcasts. So Jim, over to you. What's happening in Hypnagoria land?
Well, this week I have a vintage radio episode unearthed from the archives, as I was unable to speak at the time recording. But coming up this week is, well, would have been last week, which is review of the new Scream comic one-shot, Black Beth and the Devils of Al-Kadesh.
Oh, okay.
A very fine bit of dark sword and sorcery. Nice.
Okie dokie. Cool. And over on Rogue 2 Media.
All of the normal stuff of Grand Prix Podcast and Shonky Lab. Got a good episode of Shonky Lab coming out next week.
Yes.
But I would like to take this time to ask people to head over to iTunes or Apple Podcasts or whatever you want to do and give the Black Dog and Hypnogoria a review over there, please.
You are too kind.
Definitely worth your time. It's only 2 minutes. So, shuffle along now, please. Thank you very much.
and the same goes for everything on the Rogue 2 Media list, family. Was it Flappy Paddles and Shonky Labs and Time Twisters, Twizzlers?
No. Black Dog and Hypnogoria deserve it, definitely. They're the two better ones out there.
Have I depressed you with my whole conversation about being
not one bit,
relevant anymore?
No. Listeners, do your part.
Okie dokie. Right, well, thank you very much there, Elton. Right, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go over to Rogue 2, listen to Elton stuff, go over to Jim's thing on hypnogoria.com. And, Darren, are you doing anything? I'll take that as a no.
No.
Apart from exhaling.
Apart from exhaling. Okie dokie. Well, then, in which case, that just leaves me to say thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
And we shall see you all next week. Thank you very much for listening, and we shall see you for Zodiac. So, until then, take care, stay safe, and tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.